Before we get started with your first training session, I'd like to make sure that your entire system is set up correctly. First, we want to connect the low oxygen line to your reservoir and make sure you have a proper connection there. There will be a 1-inch diameter hose coming out of the front center or front bottom of your air separator. On that end of that hose, it's about 3 feet long. You're going to connect that in to the female receiver at the bottom of your reservoir. It's a push lock connector, so if you push it in, you'll hear a snap, and then you know that you have a proper seal. When you're down there along the bottom of your reservoir, you will also notice that there is a zipper. You can unzip, basically rapidly deflate the reservoir quickly. You will also notice, this is very important, and we get a lot of questions about it, so I'm going to point it out. There is about a 2 to 3 inch gap. It looks like a tear in the seam, but it's not. It is supposed to be there, and that is a vent for the low oxygen air to vent out and not rupture that bottom cavity. So don't try to cover it up. It's not torn. It's supposed to be there. That low oxygen vent is very important. The altitude air coming into the bottom of the system, into that low oxygen or altitude chamber, is coming in at about 120 liters per minute. So it's coming in so rapidly that that small vent allows that to vent out and not build up too much pressure and damage your system. Do not try to cover this up. It is supposed to be there. It's part of the design. Next, we will make sure that the oxygen line is attached appropriately. Where the breather hose exits the side of the reservoir, you'll find a small silicone line that's probably about 6 feet long and about the diameter of a pencil. That silicone line is the oxygen line. Follow that to the end, and then on the front of your air separator will be a small nipple. Either with the ACX or extreme versions, the nipple will be coming out and protruding straight forward towards you horizontally, and you just stick it on there and that's it. There is a graduated nipple that looks kind of like a Christmas tree pointing down. You'll just slide it up onto that nipple, and that's how you have both of your connections complete. Next, we need to set the flow of the oxygen concentrator. You can go ahead and plug your oxygen concentrator into the wall. We recommend not plugging it into a surge protector or a power strip. Reason being is because they come in all different qualities of amperage and diameters of power cable, and it could potentially cause a low voltage situation at the machine, and we've had a lot of problems that are solved by just removing the surge protector. So I would recommend just plugging it directly into the wall. Once you have it plugged directly into the wall, flip on the machine by clicking the on rocker switch. Then on the front of the system, you will see a clear tube with a small ball floating inside of it. You can adjust that dial. As you turn the dial, you will see the ball inside of that tube rise or fall. Turn that dial until that little ball within inside of that clear tube has raised up to the 10 liter per minute mark. You're never going to have to touch this again. It's a set it and forget it thing, but the first time you need to set it and make sure that it's there. Oftentimes too, every few months, just take a look there, make sure that ball is still sitting at the number 10. What that little ball is indicating is how many liters per minute of oxygen your system is making, and that's going to directly correspond to how long it takes to fill up your reservoir. So if you have it turned down too low, the reservoir is going to take forever to fill up. If you have it turned up to the proper amount, it's going to fill up in about an hour for a single concentrator for one regular reservoir. And if you have it turned up too high, this is a really important point, it will trigger a low oxygen warning light. And this happens all the time. So oftentimes if you see a triggered amber light turn on or a red light turn on in your machine, that will typically indicate that the system is not making enough oxygen. If it's not making enough oxygen, it's usually because somebody turned the little dial above 10, which is easy to do, and if that little ball is above the number 10 mark, you'll get a trigger on the front of the machine saying that it's not working properly, and the way to solve that is to turn it back down to 10. And we'll have another segment for more troubleshooting in that case, but just remember, keep the ball at 10 and not above. Great. We have the altitude line connected properly, we have the oxygen line connected properly, we have the machine plugged in correctly, and the oxygen meter set to the proper flow rate. Next, we need to attach the adaptive contrast switch to your exercise equipment. This is important. This switch, you don't want to be dropping it on the floor or putting it just sitting in the cup of your exercise equipment and someone bumps it and it falls and breaks on the ground. It's pretty robust and really durable, and it is under warranty, but it's just a lot better for everybody if you properly mount your adaptive contrast switch. The Velcro is already attached to the back of the adaptive contrast switch, and the other one you have to attach yourself. So just stick it on there, stick it on your system, and you should be good to go. Now, routing your breather hose. This is another one that's really important, and it can make or break an experience if the hose is dragging and pulling on your face. You can purchase a cozy hose. It's called a cozy hose from Livo2 on our website. And on there is a cozy hose attached. It has these two Velcro rings that go around the breather hose in 2 points on reels. And basically you just clip them around the breather hose and you tie the reels. Typically I tie them to the frame kit near one of the upper wing nuts that attach the frame, and I wrap it around there and I can adjust the height, and this levitates the breather hose at the perfect level in front of your face. And then when you're done using it, you can pull down on it a little bit and it'll attract the hose back up into position so it's not dangling on the floor when you're not using it.